Welcome back to StarCraft 2+1, where today we're breaking all the rules. A matchup usually reserved for Bronze League heroes, or whenever Maru or Gumiho trot out a battlecruiser, ideally against each other. For the first time in recorded YouTube comment history, mere matchups have been requested. StarCraft 1 versus StarCraft 2 Terran. Who wins? Well, today we'll get a little bit closer to answering that right after you like and subscribe if you haven't made it there yet. Jimmy, what are we... What? 1,331 likes. One more than yesterday on this video, on this cast. And they'll cast another one. And there's not a small chance we'll make it SC Evo, SC Evolution complete. But thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. StarCraft 1 in the StarCraft 2 client. SC Evo complete. And find more info in the description. Right, Jimmy? Anyways. Has gone through a few balance updates, even since the last time you might have seen it here. Nothing that really sticks out for this matchup in particular, but between all the custom models and the attention to detail and making the units feel... Actually, the Vultures now can do something resembling the patrol trick from Brood War, which, if done perfectly, allows them to effectively attack while moving. Does that make the difference? Against the early Reapers, the grenades, bouncing it away. But we're on new fighting spirit and cross position, so probably best case scenario, especially for our Brood War player. Oh, by the way, the players, thank you to Kiwian. Find more info and games on Kiwian's channel in the description as well. This is an S-rank Brood War player, essentially the Grandmaster of Brood War, but has been specifically playing SC Evo up against a Grandmaster on Korea StarCraft 2 player in the blue. So you should expect, I think, some smart StarCraft 1 strategies from Red, though maybe a little bit of a little less confidence in the SC2 engine, whereas our StarCraft 2 player will clearly be well experienced with things like the Cyclone, which just kind of locks on and outranges the bunker. Meanwhile, the Reapers into the main. Do Spider Mines hit them? Well, there are no Spider Mines. A Wraith is already out. Marines get absolutely slaughtered by the Reapers. The 60 HP SCVs are pulled off the line. Meanwhile, the Wraith will strongly disagree with the Reaper's presence here, while also doing severe emotional damage and occasionally actual physical damage. But the Cyclone locks on, and the Wraith is a mechanical unit. Barely gets away from the clone. And where does that leave us early on? A 1-1-1 science facility already? Is he gonna... rushing science vessel? Do you need a science vessel in order to get Wraith Cloak or anything like that? I'm not sure, but an academy is on the way. Meanwhile, our SC2 player, a Raven with interference matrix and a covert... Oh, ghosts! So they're both going for interference matrix, except Red is going for the OG version. A covert ops on the way on the science facility will allow production of ghosts, which only 25 minerals and 75 gas have access to the lockdown ability, which works quite similar to interference matrix in SC2, but lasts a lot longer overall. It just effectively disables mechanical units, of which most of the armies on either side are reliant on. Interference matrix can technically disable the ghosts, because the ghosts do not have EMP, for one. Not that that's relevant in this scenario, but the ghosts are psionic units, or they should be. I'm not actually 100% on the Brood War version here on SC Evo, but interference matrix can technically disable psionic, like queens, vipers, and ghosts, though rarely used in SC2, as ghosts don't really figure into a prominent role. The Raven kind of does so itself. And that stim pack research is done for Red. He's going to be going Marines. Hiding the ghosts here. You can't stim the ghosts. No, you can't stim the ghosts. They do come with cloak built in. He's got Marine range on the way. Red does. With medics in production. So it's going to be Marine tank versus Marine tank. At least if we get that far, with a couple Ravens to start things off. Blue gonna try to break in, scrambles one tank, gets the second, and that leaves the bunker pretty much undefended. The Wraith taken out. One of the Ravens is taken down as well, but the siege tanks now come out of interference matrix. Lockdown is in production on the covert ops. Siege tank on the high ground, trying to battle here. Oh, but gets enough shots up. Knocks out one tank, and there's not enough energy with just the one Raven for the interference matrix to drive things back. It looks like Red has held this off for now. And that will buy time for lockdown to complete on the Ghost. The double NG Bay, classic here. Getting an SCV stuck. The NG Bays could fly away, but you ideally don't lift them off while they're still researching +1/+1. And Jimmy, I need my tooltips. I don't know which one that is. Medic Restoration. Removes negative effects on target units. Whoa, 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 whoa. Could you use Restoration to get out of Interference Matrix? I'm trying to think of any other effects that are particularly relevant. But it says any negative effects. What about Existential Dread? Well, we may get the opportunity. The tanks are moving out. Drop sound auto turret scrambles the tank with lockdown. You know, I probably can't use that same terminology because they're two different abilities. But lockdown used. Medics keep everything together. They can't repair the tanks, but the Marines, of course, and the Ghosts are biological. And the SCVs, very technically, that are following up the tanks. Third command center already done and landed for Blue up to the north side. Third command center on the way, on location for Red. +2 infantry armor, and that science facility is already done, which unlocks the 2-2 upgrades. And now, Red's tank push coming across the map. We're gonna meet in the middle. Marines don't have combat shield. The SC2 Marines, the SC1 Marines don't have access to it at all. And that will hurt a lot with even just a single siege tank. Locks down a medevac. Is it stunned in position there? I believe it is. I forgot if it would stun or not, but yeah, easy pickings for the Ghosts. Unloading those rifles. And I do wonder if the EMP Ghost from the StarCraft 2 Terran might actually be the counter, because no EMP on the Ghost, it's on the science vessel. Well, there's one of those already out, but it doesn't seem to need the EMP ability. Marines are chasing siege tanks. I like how they even have the turret tracking like the SC2 tank. Custom models, by the way, on the tank. Looks amazing. Oh, the lockdown on the Raven. And any mechanical unit just gets caught by the lockdown and the Ghosts. Mass Ghosts against Terran. They can finally feel the pain of the Zerg and the Protoss at SC2. Oh, my. Oh, Comsat a little out of position. Cyclone comes wandering in. Despite all of this, Blue is currently at 69 SCVs and 132 supply to 99. So he's got a nice position going forward. Picks up 2 medevacs. He's lost a lot, but he's gained a lot as well. And I don't know if we can see the incomes here. Yes, mules. So the SC1 workers do accelerate slightly faster off of mine. The result is the SC1 workers will mine about 10% faster. This is to balance out things like mules, chrono boost for SC2. But the worker count is much greater for our SC2 player. The mules have dropped. So at this point, it's a numbers game, and the numbers are in favor of Blue, especially with this double drop coming in. How many reinforcements are there to deal with it? Oh my god, the barracks placement. Yeah, I think we've truly found a Brood War player here. Must be nice to be able to select all the buildings at once. I'm not sure this layout. Actually, the Marines are trapped behind the academy. Go back to school. And so is that SCV somehow survived. Go, just left the NG base. No, this is a lesson, Billy. All right. No, the academy's over there. You already made that jump. Meanwhile, irradiate on the Marines at the front. Lockdown across the board on the tanks and the medevacs. And Red is just moving forward. Oh my, we gotta go back. I need to see how this fight developed. Did he dematrixes a Marine. It ends up going down, but that buys enough time for the Ghost to come in and get so much that they only have 55 HP compared to 100 HP Ghosts in SC2. They're not much tankier than a Marine. But when you lock down every single tank in medevac, it makes things a little bit easier. And the irradiates on top of everything. Science vessels will go down, and the SCVs hold off the line. It's mostly medics here now. The Ghosts not nearly as fearsome and auto-attacking as their SC2 counterparts. They can't stim to get away, neither can the medics, which seems like a bit of a design flaw. But Blue is stimming and chasing things down, but the reinforcements in the center of the map. The siege tanks will siege, but locked right down, and so is the medevac as well. And Red, with a decisive victory, takes out 30 SCVs. Wow, lockdown used to absolutely devastating effect. I don't know if there's any recovering from that. Just straight up Marines. Oh, well. SC2 Marines, though. They have 2-2 done. Mules are dropping, so the worker count not that decisive here. And it seems like just the Marine Marauder able to turn things around. And the supplies will even up. Ghost Academy is on the way. It looks like he's going to go Ghosts to counter Ghosts. And EMP would be incredibly helpful. Lockdown is 75 energy, I believe. Does he have the bonus energy? I don't think so. On the Ghost. I don't know the name of it, but there's an upgrade. The interesting thing about Brood War is a lot of units have an upgrade that brings them to 250 max energy. In SC2, pretty much every unit is maxed out at 200 besides the shield battery. But Marines and medevacs could lock down. The medevac's a little late on it here, though, losing all the Ghosts on the front line. And that means Blue is able to turn the tides immediately. If they survive the lockdown, which takes about 17 years, then those units will come back. But we'll check back in next week. Jesus, that takes forever. Back in the day, that time moves slower. That's why we added Chrono Boost. Red, though, does... Oh my... Hey. Wow. Truly. And a nuclear silo is on the way, attached to that command center. But the Bio Army is just so strong. Without the Ghost to lock down the medevacs, with the combat shields intact, without medics trailing behind, the StarCraft 2 technological developments are in full display. So StarCraft 1 nukes, I don't believe they cost supply in SC Evo, but you need the nuclear silo attached to a command center, and then you have to build the nuke, which is the next step of the process, and then launch it, which is very similar to Ghost in SC2. More scans. Blue has recovered somewhat, up to 55 SCVs. Still no nuke in production. 12 Marines and 5 Ghosts at a time. Marine Ghost Medic. The MGM composition, but counter Ghosts. Irradiates one of the Ghosts. Counter Ghosts out of Blue. EMP. Will we see Science Vessel EMP to deal with it? And there's no Ghosts in this army composition. Those Marines gonna try to fight. Oh, but EMP's the medics! Oh no, it's a disaster! The one thing that might have allowed them to stand and fight, I believe the Marines are overall more DPS. The Brood War version, but have less HP, and without the medics, no one's gonna heal them from their stim addiction. So now, Red is maybe going to have to change tacks here. Oh, another army, though. Another group of Ghost Marine. 3-3 is done for Blue. Wow, that command center dying quickly. The Bio-Army closing in. Comsat's only used for there's nothing else to be done with the Comsats. So big irradiate, but just heals right through it. Sniping the Ghosts. What are you doing? Succeeding you, father. God, the Ghost dying. Just as gruesome, if not more so. Wow, there is something it is quite a dramatic situation on both sides. Still a ton of economy for Red, but the army just not stacking up. He doesn't really have any siege tanks. He's been entirely reliant on the bio army. EMPs on the ghosts, on the medics, and lines up the shots as well to take out their Terran counterparts. So much supply still for Red, but the bio army is just rolling across. The EMPs on everything scrambled, one medevac. But what is there left? He's trying to hold the line. A very Brood War-esque war of attrition. And, well, Blue did end up losing his base. Not even using the bunker here. Gonna have to pull the SCVs. A couple tanks on the back. Plus one mech done. The upgrades are actually dead even. 3-3-1 for both sides. Alright, the ghost coming in. Doesn't actually go for the EMP. I don't think he can use lockdown against it. The boys are pulled! Uses lockdown on a bit here. There's 16 SCVs dead. The momentum is just carrying through. Red could potentially rebuild in the corners, but these are Brood War minerals as well, which means the bases are just mining out. I think just a little bit too late and a bit too little. As Red is going to be forced back into his base, past the production line, and the siege tanks on the low ground. Just relying on the Marines, the Marauders. I can totally believe it, but I do in some way love that the counter to the Brood War Ghost was the StarCraft 2 Ghost, which just added to the list of things the StarCraft 2 Ghost is quite good against, but there's just not enough left here. Unless he may... And I'll be honest, well, okay, Red was defeated. I was like, I'm not entirely confident the right player left the game there, but... So, maybe a switch, and he had two... Oh, he was building science vessels. I think a lot of options on the table, but was kind of locked into the Marine Ghost composition. 198 Marines, 75 Ghosts dying. Now, remember those Ghosts, not nearly as costly as their SC2 counterparts. 226 SC2 Marines, 198 Brood War Marines. Those 75 Ghosts. I guess kind of filling the role of the Marauder as well. But we're not done. Not quite yet. As we have our same Brood War Terran up against a Protoss as well. A StarCraft 2 Protoss. And we have some games. Let me know if we get enough likes and subscribes and enough people checking out Kiwian's channel and SC Evo. We also got ZVZ. And I'm not sure if we have Protoss versus Protoss, but Zerg versus Zerg, and it doesn't end in 5 minutes. I'll tell you that much. So, let me know. That was not very well masked, but going in to Oceanborn. We're going to be on an SC2 map with SC2 minerals, and I think that makes it's the economy stupid. I think the fact that SC2 you start with 1,800 and then about 900 minerals on those smaller patches. You have around 1/3 less minerals than Brood War overall. I'm not sure if that's how math works. But the relevant point, and also you have 2 gas caps, because you mine things 5 at a time, just like SC2. It is more like SC2 than SC1. But the result being, on Brood War style maps, with Brood War style minerals, or Wings of Liberty even, you're not as obligated to expand. You're not going to mine out. Usually you start mining out SC2 minerals, the smaller patches, around 8 minutes. And you've got around that much more time until the second half mine out. But your income, your mineral income drops to about half after 8 minutes. Whereas in Brood War, that is not necessarily true. And are you really going to proxy gate? Once again, our protagonist from SC2 is Blue. I thought about coming up with some clever names, but I thought it'd be easier for everyone, especially considering we're already jumping between timelines, to just be red and blue here. It was so interesting. I really want, like, I need to talk to Kiwian and tell him, Make them play best of threes. Make them play best of threes. Okay. I need to know if they played 2 more games, or 1 more game, what they do differently. Because clearly they both had ideas about how to handle the early game. We saw our SC2 player in the previous game. The SC2 Terran did essentially a stock standard Raven tank push. But Red here, who I believe this is the same Terran player, clearly had a response to it as well. He went Wraith Siege Tank into lockdown. He rushed lockdown in order to, well, fill pretty much the same role as the Raven does for StarCraft 2 Terran. So, and it really looked like that would carry him through. I think if they weren't in cross positions across the map, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If they weren't in cross positions across the map, then he might have died to the tank push. But at the same time, he may have been able to counterattack quickly. And speaking of counterattack, Vulture in the mineral line, poking at the probes, and getting a surprising amount of them. Significantly more effective than a Hellion in most cases. A single Hellion. And a little cheaper as well. Doesn't have its spider mines yet. Some Adepts. There is a proxy gate and just warping an Adepts. But the Vultures do quite well against the Adepts here. Pretty much designed to take on amounts of light units in general. And they do a lot of damage just against the shields of Protoss as well. As Brood War units have different damage numbers and like calculations. They're not the same numbers that we have in Brood War, but the ideas are there, where a lot of units have different damage numbers against shields or against armored or light. I believe they have like medium, light, heavy as the description, something like that in the war. But here come the spider mines. Now, does he just... Well, no, that's not how you deal with spider mines at all. Alright, Adepts try to come into the main. Don't get much done. So far, Terran having a perfectly good time dealing with this early aggression. Blue trying to get some cheap damage done. Whereas the Red Terran only... Oh my god. 2 SCVs trapped this time. Beautiful. And you can't lift an armory. My go-to method is to just kill them off so they don't distract me and mess up my auto-worker hotkey. Which sounds cold, but they, you know, any SCV who gets itself cornered like this, like, that is a not insignificant portion of his economy, so. Now, here we are. Vultures. Vulture speed on the way. No siege mode as of yet. Really just focused on the Vultures themselves. Single spider mine. They can be taken out with a simple A move. Just a single mine. I think units are significantly more effective than they are in SC2 or SC1 at taking out spider mines, just because units are so responsive in StarCraft 2. Dragoons aren't busy stumbling over themselves down the stairs like a somehow drunken Protoss who absorbed a bunch of alcohol through their skin or something, because they don't have mouths, of course. Goliaths aren't doing the same thing for more conventional reasons. Units will respond. They've managed to simulate some of the Reaver dud gameplay as well, but... Oh, that's Spider Mine, but Shield Battery Overcharge! He eats one to the face of the Vulture, but 3 Vultures get in, which is a potentially deadly number. Easily gonna chew through the probes, and the Spider Mine's on the high ground. And I don't think our Protoss is fully respecting the danger these Spider Mines pose. 6 probes dead. He's got a 3rd Nexus on the way. And Protoss right now in a whole bunch of trouble. 33 probes to 49 SCVs. And our Terran has taken a 3rd. The Vulture is just doing so much. Really abusing the lack of response to the spider mines before any detection here. And any sort of early gateway pressure repelled by a good setup. Had a bunker. He had to just kill his own bunker. But scan spots the soon-to-be blink. Already blink stalkers. Technically, you can blink out of the spider mines as well, but they don't work like widow mines. And I don't know what'll happen if they're already triggered and you blink, because it happens very quickly. Oh my. Well, didn't blink. I'm not sure. I think he may have killed that one. But if there are no other targets, the mines will be shot down by the Stalkers. More factories on the way. Where did that supply come from for blue? Warp gate is a hell of a thing. Oh my. He's just eating the mines here. I don't know why there was a medic. Building the medics. They are the same hotkey as vultures. Just putting that out there. Don't know if that's related, but he doesn't have any medic upgrades, so I find it a bit odd. It may just be a rally point thing. He's building some more. And the spider mines are getting easily taken out now that there's any amount of detection. Sacrifices one of the zealots, but SCV's on the run. And Just Mass Vulture, what do you got there? What are you upgraded now? Is that optic flare? Okay, sorry. Jimmy again messed up the tooltips for some reason. Optic flare blinds the target, reducing its vision and disabling detection. Oh, blocks up to the main here. And just spider mines aren't gonna cut it. Mass vultures is not enough to deal with this magnitude of blink stalkers. And more spider mines coming in. That hit definitely connects. Oh my god, they tracked him. The spider mines are helping to thin out the stalkers, but the damage is being done. Probes killed by vultures on the opposite side of the map. Not a single siege tank. As the SCVs are pulled, like, sir? Hello, sir? He's trying to prevent the blink down with spider mines. But the stalkers, well, those are 60. Oh my god! Oh, it's a massacre! He just blunked right into it. He had to have seen the mines. Well, just when it looked like Protoss was getting an advantage, was getting ahead, he blonked right down into the spider mines. There weren't too many options out of there. Maybe a recall, but wow. A disastrous blink results in a massive supply dupe, but not enough to put him behind. It's still just mass vultures. I'm not sure if he thinks this is the go-to strategy, or honestly feels a little bit like trolling him. But it is dangerous because with StarCraft 2 Protoss especially, things go sideways. Warp Prism gets in your main, or you just take a particularly bad fight, and that can turn on you very quickly. Oh my. Those spider mines, and they get all antsy. You can still target them there for a moment. You gotta watch out. They get their hackles up, such as they do. Slick blink over the top. Looking to lay some more mines down. 60 to 45 workers. Siege mode on the way. +3 mech weapons already for Terran. Meanwhile, Protoss, almost nothing back at home. Charge on the way. Has to recall back. There are no mines here, or this could have been disastrous. The warpins are good. Doesn't really lose any probes. 4th Nexus is on the way. So an observer. Oh, Stalkers trying to intercept the Vultures, but underestimating the damage that the Vultures can do directly to the Stalkers. Especially with that +2 mech done. Eventually the Vultures are cleaned up. Observers are chasing down. Still a significant supply advantage for Protoss. Though the Brood War races in general, almost everything costs less supply. Vultures, I believe, are only 1. Siege tanks are just 2, as compared to 3 for SC2, and like Kiwians being 2 themselves. So the supply being lower doesn't necessarily mean the strength is that much less. But it's getting harder and harder to drive back this amount of Stalkers. There's only the 1 siege tank right now. Charge lock comes in, and he was continuing to build medics. I'm not sure if the optic flare strat is real, but there's that observer on the high ground providing a lot of vision in general. Protoss, plenty of vision. Misses both observers with a scan, which is pretty devastating. But a lot of Stalkers come wandering into siege tank range and will not be wandering out. He spots another one. You gonna flare it? Another observer in position. Whole bunch of just stalkers for now. I think I heard a weird noise. I have to assume that was optic flare. Anyways, one way to blind an observer is to kill it with missile turrets as well. You can write that down. Vulture's looking for an opportunity. Scavenging. Spider mines underneath. Shield battery overcharge, not good enough. Deja vu. We've just been in this base before. Vulture's into the main. Meanwhile, the Stalkers are pressuring the 4th command center of Terran. And, oh my, that spider mine got dangerously close, but they're buying time here for the probe kills. Stalker's trying to get more damage done. You gotta be so careful. You can't really blink in without the spider mines potentially. Oh my, he blinked. The spider mine chased it and reburrowed, which I think is the intended behavior, but also looks crazy. And now we got EMP on the way for the science vessels, as well as a covert op slapped onto the science facility. So potentially locked down as well against the Protoss. Scans, a Venn diagram scan across the board. +2 armor now done for Protoss, who I think is really starting to respect the danger that the spider mines pose. Really could use observer speed. A holdover from the observatory. Some Goliaths on the way, which not a bad counter to Colossi, as Goliaths can shoot up at greater range. I'm like, is that true? Yes, they have a different weapon on the ground and in the air. Now, yeah, the supply always so misleading. There's only 117 supply for Terran, but that also includes 10 siege tanks. 2 supply apiece, definitely a bit misleading to the StarCraft 2 instincts. The siege tank's not quite as strong as their StarCraft 2 counterparts, but well, they aren't as tanky. They don't fire as quickly, but they hit really hard. I think they're a bit weaker when unsieged as well, but we're going to find out if that matters at all. As this army here, EMP is not done. EMP not quite done, but D-Matrix indeed is. The Protoss army, these are just unsieged tanks. He blunks on top, trying to chase down as many tanks as he can. Spider Mine takes a bite out of the Stalkers, but the Stalkers will get most of the science vessels and turns things around. Oh my. Oh no, it's not looking good here as the tank's getting cored out. Spider Mines kill half a dozen more Stalkers and may be the only thing standing between Terran and the legacy of the Void. Spider Mines scattered throughout. But now Protoss has a comfortable 4 bases. Our Terran, not nearly as comfortable. Looking for base number 5. 11 gates at home to warp in. Dark Shrine on the way. And the SCV is getting caught transferring. Scan spots the army. Another siege tank shows up. The command center itself is getting targeted. Gonna get some repairs. Here come the Goliaths. Karen missiles are done. And oh my. The Colossi just crumble. Goliaths brought low. Or Goliaths, rather, bring them low. Well suited. They're older, well, their younger cousins, the Viking, would be proud. The Viking, well, Viking one of several attempts to reinstitute the Goliath in SC2. The Cyclone is the most recent one, but the Viking fills much the same role as the Brood War Goliath. I gotta say, Brood War Goliath is a little cooler though, isn't it? Spider-Mine's not able to burrow in time. And that means the Zealots will just clean up or drive away most of those Vultures. Now working on +1 air weapons as well. So are we going to see a transition into... It's got to be carriers, right? Well, that's so many. 15 siege tanks. Only 124 supply. More probes down. The Vulture just poking at it. Eventually the shield... Oh. I think it was doing slightly more damage than it had shields each time. That's so many tanks. There's the fleet beacon. Stalkers finally warped in. Probe count dipping. And suddenly our Protoss player not looking so healthy on supply, especially considering these siege tanks are coming across the map. Struggling to do so, caught between a rock and a hard place in many ways. DTs are warped in, but science vessels are with the army. I don't think he quite spotted the DTs there. But, oh. Charge lots on top of the tanks, though. The Vultures weren't quite in position. D-Matrix to try to salvage this position. Stalkers move into the safer, well, up close and personal. Meanwhile, though, the siege tank still more than enough. 3-3 done for both sides. Void Rays in production. Vulture to the north side. The DT is getting a lot of damage done. 8 SCVs killed, and no mules to drop. Got the tanks just annihilating the base. A single Vulture gonna be dealt with by the Dark Templar, which I believe will be hit by spider mines because they can sense the seismic disturbances in the ground or something like that. That's why they don't hit hovering units like workers. Except incidentally. The D-Matrix tank, D-Matrix, defensive matrix is gone, and so is the tank now. But Protoss down 133 to 113 supply, starting the first carrier, but has been knocked back to 4 bases. Now we got a 5th command center floating over. Looks like Terran was forced to take this Protoss seriously, but now starting to reassert control of the situation. Shadow Stride about to complete. DT blink. I don't think there are any DTs on the field, just one. Alright, got a lot of work to do. Tanks coming through. And lockdown is in production. I think realizing when a Protoss sits back, this is true in StarCraft 1 and 2, but Protoss is sitting back a little too long. It's just a matter of time till they build something like carriers. In this case, we're seeing Tempest in production. Did he get 1 carrier? No, he canceled and built Tempest, which I think the safer option, though both options are indeed will struggle against lockdown. D-Matrix at the front, the tanks are allowed to siege, and that means the Archon's gonna have a tough time. Neither side really getting that close to maxing out at any point in the game. 3 Tempests on the way. Ghosts in production yet again. The science vessels do have EMP. And I think that means that the Terran army is looking pretty comfortable, even in the face of some capital ships out of the Protoss. How many ghosts on the field? Just a couple so far. Ideally doesn't want to reveal lockdown until it's already too late. A single D-Matrix Goliath. The big D-Matrix right there. Even gonna take down the Observer. Make it that much harder. An Oracle's on the way. But there's a lot of spider mines to clear. 37 mines on the field. The probe's on the run yet again. Protoss trying to find an answer, but 170 supply of Terran now. 19 siege tanks, 11 Goliaths, 18 Vultures, a couple Ghosts, and a smattering of science vessels. And right now, the Protoss army looking like it's not even remotely close to enough to deal with this. A D-Matrix. EMP looking good. And gets a lockdown with its dying cast. 2 of the Tempests brought out of the fight. D-Matrix on the Vultures to absorb fire. And that is way too much Terran. Protoss agrees. Taps it out. I I gotta say, the ghosts and science vessels, I think this is the first time I've seen what is clearly a experienced Brood War player. We've seen some StarCraft 2 pros kind of shoehorn their StarCraft 2 style in SC1, but whoever this player is, in the red, I think has quite an understanding. Even though they weren't able to keep up against the SC2 Terran, they truly understand how to use those Brood War abilities and bring them to bear against these StarCraft 2 races. So I'd love to see more. And if you want to see more mirror matchups as well, we got a ZVZ lined up. If we hit that, 1331 likes, we'll get that up soon to you. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Let me know what you want to see more of. Make sure to check out Kiwian and the SC Evo Complete. You can support the development. This is all volunteer mod makers. You can find more info in the description, or if the mod makers are here watching the video, leave a comment with more info or a better link to the Discord. I couldn't find one that's like semi-permanent, so that'd be helpful. Thank you for watching, though. I hope I made your day a little bit better. It'd be awesome if you got the means of motivation to check out Patreon. Thank you, Miguel, by the way, our newest super pylon. And yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.